Okay, y'all. I have been dreading to make this video. I was supposed to make it earlier in the month, but we're gonna try to make it real quick because who's not gonna be able to type it up is me, okay? But I'm just giving me, giving a little life update on what's been going on with your girl in the past year because big changes have happened, right? So let's see how we start this. So May 3rd of 2023. Woke up, normal day, right? Let my dogs outside, fed my dogs, went to take a shower. And while I was taking a shower, I started dropping stuff. Couldn't hold on. I think I was like the shower head, I believe. I tried to pull up down. I have like a detachable shower head. So tried to pull that down. And I kept dropping it. So eventually I said, screw it. I don't even want to take a shower no more. Cause I don't even know what's going on. And when I tried to get out of the shower, it took me like 3 tries to get out of the shower because I couldn't lift my leg all the way up. So I'm used to stuff happening to me. Something's always happening. So I'm thinking of it, I was like, maybe, my foot just fell asleep. Maybe my legs fell asleep. My hands fell asleep. Okay, cool. It'll come back, right? Mind you, I work a lot. I be busy. Your girl be busy. And I had a lot of things to do that day. I had planned that day to get all my stuff done, basically. And so I basically let my supervisor like, hey, I don't know what's going on. Something's wrong with my hand. Typing, not going to bed too well. Oh, because I was trying to type up my reports. And when I was typing, my hands wouldn't move. Like type like I usually type. I had to like type like with one dot at a time, and I had to like really focus to even get it to do it in the first place. But I let her know, I was like, hey, I don't know how long it's gonna take me to get you these reports, but I'm working on them. Okay, I don't know what's wrong with my hand, but something's wrong with my hand. I'm gonna get it to you. Okay, I'm not gonna take off. I'm gonna get it to you. My supervisor was straight up like, Shella, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't like that. And I was like, well, I don't have hospital money. And I'm hoping it's just like, it's just like something like a weird thing and it'll be back to normal real soon, And so I'm like, yeah, nah, I'm not trying to go to the hospital. I'm not trying to go to the ER. I don't have ER money. I'm not trying to do that. And my supervisor, she was like, nah, I don't. She was uncomfortable because she didn't know what was wrong. And so I was like, well, it'll make you feel better. I just call my doctor, let them know what's going on, and let them tell me what to do. And she said, yes, call your doctor. So I called my doctor. When I tell you I called my supervisor back, boo-hoo, crying because it scared the hell out of me. Oh, sorry. Excuse my language because there's grown folk on here. I apologize. I'm going to do my best to try to control my language. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I called my doctor's office and I basically told them what was going on with my leg and with my hand. And they were like, you need to go to the hospital. You're showing signs of a possible stroke. And I said, what? A stroke? And I immediately started crying because I'm almost 27. I had just turned 27 like the month before. Sorry, y'all. I have something in my eye. But I had just turned 27. I'm 27 years old, a stroke at 27. Like, what did I do in my life to deserve to be having a stroke? I was crying. Scary, right? So I called my supervisor. I'm boohoo crying, letting her know, hey, they said I need to go to the hospital. They said I'm showing signs of a stroke. I was scared. I don't know what to do. My supervisor is crazy. She had told me this, but she told me, so get your stuff. I'm going to get somebody to come get you to take you to the hospital. I think when I talked to them, they told me, if I didn't want to go to the hospital, I can go to ER Premier first. So I went to like a ER Premier. It was like basically like a emergency room, but not like the actual hospital. But my supervisor was like, yeah, I'm gonna find somebody to come get you and take you to the hospital. I was like, okay. And I'm crying, trying to calm myself down. Don't know what's going on. Trying to keep myself calm because if I had a stroke, like my face isn't like laxed or nothing like that. But either way, I don't really know all these medical terms and things. I just know strokes do things to people's bodies, and I was freaking out. And so my colleague comes, she gets me from the house, and she takes me to the ER Premier. And we get there, they see what's going on. They did some tests. I had to pee. And I remember they wouldn't let me really walk around. They made me sit down, and I noticed that every time I sit down, so when I sat down, so they had me go pee, right? So they could test to see what was wrong with me. And when I went to go pee into the little pee thing, again, this is my right hand is my dominant hand. And so I use it for everything. And so I'm trying to use it to hold the pee cup to pee, and I dropped it into the toilet. And so basically they had to give me like a bunch of water so I could pee again. But because they gave me a bunch of water so I could pee again, I kept on peeing a lot. But they wouldn't let me move. And I noticed that every time I got up to go pee again, every time I got up, the harder it was for me to walk. I had to walk slower. I had to hold on to the wall. I couldn't really lift my leg. It felt real heavy. Yeah, like it was like so I hated it because they wouldn't let me walk around, and they were telling me, oh, well, it's for your safety. And it's like, well, every time y'all make me sit down, whenever I get up, it's harder for me to move. And so is there something else I can do? Like, no, you have to stay in the seat. Granted, this is one of the reasons why I can't stand hospitals, and I'm not trying to go back. I'm not trying to go back at all. But, so basically, they were like, okay, so we don't know what's wrong with you. You need to go to you need an MRI. We don't have an MRI here. So we're going to call the hospital and have them and basically have you get transferred over there. They said that they wanted to get an ambulance to come get me. I'm not trying to pay for no ambulance. So, and by the way, this whole time I'm not by myself. The colleague who took me there, she stayed with me for a while. The another colleague, they switched off while they were waiting for my transfer to the hospital so that they could do an MRI check to see what was wrong. And so I think we got to ER Premier maybe about 9 something, maybe 10. By the time the hospital called them to confirm that they had a bed for me, and that I could go to the hospital, it was like 10 times worse. So colleagues had switched. And so this colleague, she was like, yeah, I'll take you to the hospital. I don't have no problems with that because I wasn't trying to pay for the ambulance. Okay. I may have insurance, but even though we have insurance, stuff is still expensive and anybody got time for that. I'm not trying to pay for that. And so she took me so she was going to take me to the hospital. But when I got up that last time, I think by the time they did it was like 4 something, maybe almost 5 o'clock. When I got up, maybe it was later. Because I feel like when we got to the hospital, it was like almost dark, or it was going to start getting dark. No. I think it was like 4 something, 5 o'clock. Yeah, something like that. Because it was still working hours, or almost working hours. Whatever the case may be. It was basically at the ER all day. But so she took me to the hospital. When I went there, like, wait, so basically I was being admitted. I didn't know I was being admitted. I thought they were just getting a bed, so I'd have somewhere to sit and wait, get the MRI done and stuff like that. They didn't tell me what's going on. No, apparently I was being admitted. But when I got up, before we went to the hospital, I keep forgetting what I'm saying, y'all. I apologize. This video is all over the place, but I'm not doing this again, okay? Because it's hard enough. I'm trying to be all hippie and up and stuff like that because I'm not trying to cry. Because again, I was very emotional, and ever since this has happened, I'm telling you, I have cried so often now. It's crazy. But when I got up, I scared the crap out of my colleague and myself because I got up off the bed to get into the wheelchair so they could take me to her car. And as I got up, I literally started to fall backwards and I almost fell on the floor. Scared the crap out of everybody, including myself. And so they're like, yeah, I don't feel comfortable with you doing all the moving. I was like, okay, I'll just move real slow, which is what I did. I moved real slow to get into the car. When we got to the hospital, I moved real slow to get out of the car and get into the wheelchair. But by the time we got to the hospital, which was like maybe a 10, 15-minute car ride. By the time we got to the hospital, and I got out of that wheelchair, so I got out of the car and went straight into the wheelchair. And when they got me to the room that they were admitting me into, when I got up to try to get into the bed, there was like 2 nurses there. They were trying to help me out of the wheelchair because I literally could not get out of the wheelchair. It was really hard. And so they tried to help me pull up and I almost fell again. At that point, they were like, yeah, you can't get up for the rest of the day. They basically put me on like bed rest. Like I wasn't allowed to leave to get up to walk, to go use the restroom or nothing. And they couldn't tell me what was going on. And they were like, yeah, so you're admitted. And we're gonna do an MRI first thing in the morning. Yeah, I believe that MRI had to be set up for first thing in the morning, which was annoying because I'm like, this is going on. This is important. We need to figure out what's going on because I'm terrified. Like, you can't tell me no answers, no nothing, no solutions, no nothing. Doctors ain't there, so we just scared. We don't know what's going on at this point. So the next morning I wake up to by the way, again, could not stand being in the hospital. Was woken up all the time by nurses, couldn't really sleep. People was picking and prodding at me and taking blood every day. Like that crap. don't even want to talk about it. Either way, next morning, doctor comes in. It was like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. I have that week. When I tell you, my colleagues are great. They're great, and my work family is great, because when I tell you they came again that morning to make sure that I wasn't by myself, because I was freaking out and I was crying. Like I was panicking so bad that the doctor had to give me medication because I kept having panic attacks, because I would hyperventilating and couldn't breathe, and it was like, your girl was terrified. And it did not help when the doctors came in that next morning. Basically was like, so we don't know what's wrong, but these are the 4 things it could be. He said it could be an infection. He said, wait, I'm sorry, wrong. The night before, they did the MRI the night before, because there's no way the doctor could tell me those things unless they didn't have the MRI. So they did the MRI that night, but I wouldn't be able to get, not that night, but when I got there, they did my MRI. But they wouldn't be able to give me the results of knowing what was going on until the morning time, because the radiology had to go over it, the doctor had to look at it, and all these things. So I had to wait till the morning to get an understanding of what my diagnosis was and what was going on with me. And so 4 things. When they came in, they showed me my MRI, and all you could see was a bunch of white spots and dots, like all over my brain. And when I saw it, I just start crying, because it's like, there's this stuff in my head. Like, what is it? And so they're telling me it could be 4 things. They don't know exactly what it is. They have to do cross-examination and rule it out. They said it could either be an infection. They said it could be cancer. They said I could have had a stroke. And then they said that I could have multiple sclerosis. Those were the 4 things that they were telling me could be an issue. And at this point, we're what? May 3rd. Was that a Wednesday or a Thursday? I don't remember. But I know that basically throughout the day, doctors were coming in to see me. I think they had occupational therapists come to my room that day. And he came and he tried to help me stand. And they basically gave me a walker. So basically I wasn't on bed rest anymore. I could move, but I had to move very slow. And also by that next day, I really couldn't do much. Like I could move maybe 3 of my fingers at that point. I can't remember which 3. I think these two fingers, I don't think I could move them at all. I could move these 3. But I couldn't move these 2 by that point. And when I would use the walker, throughout the day, as I would get up and move around, like my arm, like my hand would fall off the walker. So it was really hard to maintain balance and stuff. When the doctors would come in and check my vitals and everything and check my strength, they'd always tell me, like, your legs and your arms, like, and stuff, they're really strong. And you're really strong. That ain't helping me though. Cause it may be really strong and it may have power to it, but I can't walk right. Like, and I will say every time that I got up, even with the walker, my legs did start to feel stronger the more that I was able to get up and walk. But can't really do much with my hands. So it's like I was losing more of the functioning in my hand. And so I would say maybe, that Friday they said basically we're going to have to do a lumbar puncture on you. Because I think they had got like a lot of different people involved. But they had to do a lumbar puncture on me. They were going to do it, without, I think it's like a specific scan where like they literally see where they need to puncture at and stuff with like special technology or whatever. But they wanted to try first, of course, on my hospital bed. But whenever he touched like my spine to try and find where he wanted to poke the hole or whatever, and this was even just to numb me up to be able to do the lumbar puncture in my hospital room. He couldn't do it because whenever he touched me, I would like tense up because it kind of hurt a little bit. He didn't know why it hurt, and so it made him uncomfortable. And so he had them do another MRI on my back to see what it was. And they said when they looked at it, it looked like something like fluid or something was back there, like some inflammation or something like that. So it's a little tender. So he was uncomfortable doing the lumbar puncture without like that guide, having someone else do it with like a guide where they can see exactly where they can poke at or whatever. And so I had to wait over the weekend until I believe Monday or Tuesday, I believe. That Monday or Tuesday. Because it was 5 days. I went 5 days without anything being done because they didn't know what it was. So they didn't want to give me anything or do anything because they didn't know what was going on. So I don't remember exactly, but I do know I had to wait over a weekend for them to get their results back. To wait over the weekend so that they can do the lumbar puncture that following week. Because they couldn't do the over bedside one on that Friday. By that Sunday in the hospital, I could not move my hand at all. Literally, there was no functioning in my hand. Like I could, like I couldn't move it. I would look at it and I'd try to will it to move. Like, I mean, when I tell you guys, I was crying a lot. I was like terrified. And I tell you, my colleagues are great because they stayed with me like that whole week until like Friday. I wasn't by myself in the very beginning. So shout out to the work people because they were great. But, and it was a lot also trying to call certain family members because not everyone, obviously everyone will probably know now, but not everyone in my family knows this. Not all my friends know this. Like people in my life who care and love me, not all of them know that these things happened to me and that this is what was going on in my life a year ago. Okay. I only call very specific people. I call my daddy. I told my cousin who is my roommate, and, I told a couple other people, like really close friends to me. I did not tell a lot of people. There's very few people that knew, okay? So other people who were calling me, I had family members calling me who I did not even tell what was going on with me. And so, because somehow they found out, which, irritated me just a little bit because I didn't tell you this. So how you know this information? If I wanted you to know, I would have shared it with you. But I understand, family, they like to share information, pray for this person, things like that. So I appreciate it. I had a lot of people call, pray over me. A lot of people calling, a lot of family calling, checking on me, trying to make sure that I was okay. Couldn't really be honest. I wasn't okay. Was not okay. Again, they had to keep giving me like pills and stuff to calm me down because I kept having panic attacks and my anxiety was real bad because there's no answers. Like I'm literally losing functioning in my hand. My walking, I'm using like a walker. I can move around, but I'm walking and I'm having a hard time lifting this leg. Okay. And all this is right side. It's like right hand. It's like my right hand and arm and my right leg. And so basically it's like right-sided weakness, basically is what they said. But they didn't know what was causing it. Okay. So we finally do the lumbar puncture either that Monday. I think it was that Monday. And they got the results back on that Tuesday. And so it wasn't, it wasn't like basically that next week, my neurologist, was it neuro? Yeah. My neurologist switched. Okay. There's a new neurologist taking charge over neurology that next week. And he literally told me, he was like, look, so these are the 4 things it could possibly be. But if I'm telling you right now, if I was here when you came in, I would have known and probably understood that what you have most likely is MS. But because it could possibly be these other things, we want to make sure everything is ruled out before we start trying to treat you for MS because it could not be that. And he basically said he would know he would know officially that it's not an infection. And they knew that I think they knew by that time that it wasn't cancer. And that it wasn't a stroke because I think they would have saw it on my MRI if it was a stroke. And so they needed the lumbar puncture to figure out, to rule it out to where only one thing was left for the most part. So the beginning test of lumbar punctures came in, I think that Tuesday, and they were like, yeah, so you have, so we're assuming, and we're, out of all the things we've been knocked it down and you most likely have multiple sclerosis. And that's what this is. So we're going to give you 2 days, 2 rounds of steroids, for 2 days. Guys, steroids, disgusting. When I tell you, I had my first infusion of the steroids on, that Tuesday, and I literally couldn't hold anything down, when I was taking it. Like I had to eat a bunch of, gum. And actually, no, the gum wasn't even helping. I had to eat a bunch of cough drops and really strong pepperminty gum. Like my dad actually drove down to be with me for a few days while all this was going on because he wanted to understand what's going on, of course, like that. And so he got me cough drops and stuff, things that were very strong because literally I immediately threw up with the steroids. Okay. Immediately was throwing up because that crap is disgusting. Disgusting. Cause I could taste that. I could taste it. It was just disgusting. And so I did, a round of steroid treatment on that Tuesday. And by that Wednesday, before I had my second round, I was able to move some of my fingers. I was able to move some of my hands. I had a little bit movement. Okay. It wasn't fully momentum moving, but I could move them. I could use them again. Well, not completely. I didn't have full function, but it was working. The steroids was doing what they're supposed to do. And so I got my second round of steroids that second day, which I believe was Wednesday. And so I think by that Thursday, occupational therapy came down, and they basically, because he was coming down to see me every day doing a little therapy with me. And so by Thursday, after the steroids, they were able to put me on a cane. So I was able to move up from the walker to the cane, which was great. Because I was actually really struggling walking with that walker. I ain't even gonna lie. And it was real messed up. Again, why I don't like the hospital, because to pee or move or anything, I could not move until a nurse was there to turn off the bed alarm and actually take me to the bathroom. And I literally fell off of the toilet one time when I was trying to pee. Like I leaned over to get some tissue, and because I couldn't plant my right leg so that I wouldn't slip, I just slipped off the toilet. I felt so bad for that nurse because she had to do all these type of paperwork and stuff. But yeah, it was very embarrassing. It was just on the floor. I was like, yeah, I fell. And I couldn't get up. It was so, like, I'm one of those people, I don't like people to do other things for me. I'd rather do things for myself. So having to depend on other people to help me move around and walk, this is a lot. And I was not trying to, like, I did what they told me to do, but I didn't like it. When I fell off the toilet, I understood way more. I already understood, but I understood a lot more of why they do what they do, but still didn't like it. But I followed the rules. I did what they told me to do. I didn't get out the bed unless somebody was there. Didn't move and get up and try to move on my own. I followed the rules. Okay. And so someone came to see me then, and they were basically like, so I had to do inpatient therapy. They said they quoted me for 2 weeks of inpatient therapy. They got it approved through my insurance for the therapy. Praise God, because I only had to be in inpatient therapy for 1 week. That Friday, they transferred me over to inpatient therapy, I basically got transferred to downstairs. Only thing that sucked about when they transferred me down to inpatient is because, so when you're upstairs and you're in the hospital, they have these catheters, not like the normal catheters that you would use when you hear the word catheter, but they have like this new type of catheter that you just put it between your legs. And so if something happens, you just pee on that and it goes into the little bucket thing and you're good, right? Nothing got to go in, nothing nowhere, just there, right? Because there was times because sometimes hospitals are understaffed, they don't have enough nurses, or something is going on with other people, you have to wait on them to be free to come and help you, whatever you need. So I would have to wait a really long time sometimes for them to come and help me to go use the restroom. And sometimes I just couldn't make it because they took too long. And so one thing that I hated when I had to go down to rehab is that they didn't have like those catheters and stuff down there. So it's literally, you had to hold it or you literally was peeing on yourself in the bed and they would have to clean everything. And so sometimes I almost didn't make it. I made it, but horrible, I tell you. Okay. Having to try to hold your pee when you really got to pee. Like I think at one point I was peeing like every 20 minutes because I was drinking a lot of water in the hospital. I try to drink a lot of water, but I don't drink as much water as I needed to at that point in time. And so when I was drinking nothing but water at the hospital, and I was drinking a lot of water because I was crying a lot. My throat was dry, all cracked and cakey. I was drinking a lot of water, freaking out, drinking a lot of water. I need to drink something when I ate, drinking a lot of water. We in the hospital. What else am I going to drink? We're going to drink water. And so I was literally peeing. Like I think they had tested my urine at one point because they thought something was wrong. Like they thought I had an infection or something. No, I was just drinking a lot of water. And so it was just going straight through me. And so I actually had to stop drinking water for like a day. So I would stop peeing like every 20, 30 minutes. It was horrible. But I was really excited when I got to therapy. When I tell you that therapy was very hard, there was a lot of frustrating moments, a lot of crying. But one of the things that I remember and was really grateful for was the gaining momentum and abilities in my fingers and my hands. As you can see, I still can't do it touched. It's been a year. Like I was doing this earlier today and I could not touch this finger. I have not been able to touch this finger in like a year. Okay. Like I got it to the point, like by the time I left therapy, I could get these to touch, right? But I could never get this to, dang it, now you're going to do it again? See, hey, ow. But I could never really get these fingers to touch. See, now it's skipping or it's like barely touching. But either or way, you see, I can't, like my hands, it's not all the way back how it was before, but I have enough strength I can type and I can do everything that I need to do. I do drop things more often in this hand than not, but I only had to do 1 week of inpatient therapy. By that Friday, I was good enough walking. Like I think by that Tuesday of inpatient therapy, they took me off the cane and I was able to walk without any assistance of the cane. Now, mind you, I had to walk very, very slow, very slowly. I started noticing different things within my body with this new diagnosis, like through like therapy and stuff. Like I would notice like if I was real fatigued or tired, or if something was wrong and my body was telling me I needed to stop, I would get really bad headaches. And so I'd have to ask for like Tylenols and stuff. They gave me all these things and they basically, I actually had to ask them. I was like, look, I was like, before I go home, because they asked, I think like the last day before I left, they were like, what is it that we need? Is there something that we need to teach you how to do? There's something that you can't do or are scared of when you go home, that if you're by yourself, you don't know how to do it. I said, all I need you to do is teach me how to get myself up off the floor if I fall. Because I was already clumsy. I'm already clumsy. Okay. I'll already be tripping over my own 2 feet. I'll already run into things. So I already know with my balance being off and me not having, there's a chance that I'm going to fall. It's going to happen. I'm going to fall. I need you to teach me how to get up if I fall. When I tell you that was the hardest thing, is learning how to pick myself up off the ground after falling. The hardest thing. It's so hard. Learning to pick yourself up off the ground when you're falling. So after that week of inpatient, I'm trying not to cry, y'all. After that first week of inpatient, I basically I was able to go home. And it's crazy because my first day home, your girl fell, okay? Because I was listening, okay? I listened to my doctors. I was taking breaks in between doing things. I was doing things very slowly, okay? But when I came home, because I left in such a rush, usually like when I leave the house, especially if I know I'm going to leave the house and I'm going to be gone for a while, I clean my room and stuff to make sure that when I come home to a clean house. Well, I have dogs and I wasn't here to really care for them like that. Like my dad came, got my girls and took them home and stuff like that. But before he did that, they was here. My cousin was taking them out for me and stuff like that. But wasn't nobody in here clean my room to make sure like whatever they messed up was together. So the first thing I wanted to do when I came home was make sure I could be comfortable in my room. So I cleaned my room. Took forever and a decade. But I was doing really good cleaning my room. I took my time. When my head started hurting, like there was times I had to take like an hour rest or an hour break, sometimes 2 hours, because my head would start hurting. And so I was like, no, I need to stop. But yeah, I dropped something for that instance. I kind of forgot and I kind of reached to go get it. And I started to fall and I felt myself start to fall. And so I did what they taught me. And I tried to fall in a safe way to where if I fall, I'm not going to hurt myself. Like I'm not going to hurt myself physically. Like hit my head real hard or something like that. So it was crazy because I had to fall on my knees to save myself, which kind of hurt a little bit, but it was on carpet because it's in my room. It's carpet. So I fell down, and because that they taught me, and I'm so glad I told them specifically, you need to teach me how to get off the ground, because if they wouldn't have, I would have been on the floor, because it was nighttime and my cousin was asleep. So I would have been on that floor, just on the floor and not able to get up. And so they told me to try to basically I needed to get to something where I could lift myself up and pull. So I luckily was next to my bed. And so I basically pulled myself. It took me 30 minutes to get up off the floor. 30 minutes. And I was so tired after that. My room was mostly clean at that point. So I was like, screw it. I'm not doing nothing else for the rest of the day. I'm done. I'm done. But I had to do 3 months of, outpatient therapy. Which was something. I couldn't drive for the first 2 weeks, I believe. I think I had to have people help me out. And I went to go see my doctor. When I got out, I was like, oh, what do I need to do to be able to drive again? Because I can't be dependent on other people to take me to these appointments. Because people got jobs, people got work. I need to be able to do things on my own. And so he was like, I tell you what, give it a week or two. And I told you, give me to this date. If you practice driving when your cousin's in the car, y'all can practice driving. And when you feel comfortable, let me know. And when we'll see if I can clear you. And I said, okay, cool. When I tell you that day I started practicing driving, trying to learn to hit my right foot on that pump again, little a little something at first. And sometimes I'd push and the jump off. But I think after like a few days, I was able to drive to the point to where I wouldn't like crash or anything like that. And so when it hit that week time frame that he had given me, I was like, yeah, doctor, I can drive. Can I be cleared to drive and be okay? Because I think I'm good. And so luckily, I was cleared, and so I was able to make it to all my outpatient appointments that were set for me. Because of how it's set up, I couldn't make my own schedule that would help so that I could get to my appointments with help from a ride. When I was at the hospital, they did set me up to do like bus transport, but for some silly reason, apparently I'm in the rural area when literally the actual city is like literally this right there. It's right there. How is it rural? Because when it's rural, basically they have to know about your appointments and things like weeks in advance. And I said, by the time we get to that, like I'm gonna be driving, so I don't even need this crap no more. But they did try to set me up like services. They had to put like a bench in the shower for me. I had to have like shower things on the in there, and I had to have things on the shower so that I wouldn't slip and fall. What was that? Like a shower chair? They had a shower chair. I feel like that's something else that was in the bathroom to help me out so that I wouldn't fall when I would shower and stuff like that. I think for the first week or two, my cousin would be in the living room and she would check on me every so often when I was in the shower to make sure I didn't fall or she didn't need me. I think at one point I had to call her for something, but for the most part I did pretty okay. But I was able to graduate. I finished my outpatient therapies and was able to graduate from there the end of July, I believe. No, the end of June. Wait. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I think it was like, I feel like I was in outpatient therapy for the whole summer. When I finished therapy, no, I was pretty much in therapy for the whole summer. Yeah, I didn't finish therapy until like July, I believe. Like I went home in July to get my dogs because I missed my dogs. I needed my dogs. But I think I still remember going to therapies and stuff like that. I don't think I was home long because I still had outpatient appointments and stuff to go to. So yeah, I finished my outpatient in July, and by August, your girl was back at work. Okay. When I say that this year has been life-changing and it has been tough and it has been hard and it has been a learning curve, learning to listen to my body, learning when I need to sit myself down somewhere and just not do stuff. Right now it's the summertime, so it's really hard for me. I had started walking again, trying to extend like my stamina, strengthening my legs and trying to get that strength back and trying to build up my stamina so I wouldn't get like tired so fast, because I was getting tired very easily when I would move around. But I literally, like, I was told by my doctors, you cannot be out walking in the heat. If you want to walk, go to a store, you need to walk in a cool place, a cool area. You do not need to be walking outside in the heat. Don't do it. So I didn't do it, right? So now the summer is back around. I'm like, So I'm not freshly out of a flare-up anymore with my MS. But the heat very much so strongly affects me. Since I've been in hospital, I've always made sure that I have like fans and stuff everywhere because I need to be cool. When I get hot, I move real slow. I start breathing real hard. And I get real tired. I get fatigued real fast and I'll start having a headache. And so I take my time. I was walking during the cool days and stuff. And I finally got it to where I could walk. I was walking a mile point. I think the last time I walked, I walked a mile point 20.22. But here in Texas, it's now hot. So when it started getting really hot outside, I stopped walking because I can't walk in the dead of light, in the daylight time. And so I was like, well, I'll start walking at night. You know how hard it is to start walking at night, especially when you work my job that I work and you come home late. Nobody's trying to walk. I'm tired. And then with me and my issue, sometimes I come home and I'm fatigued. And so I can't walk and I can't exercise. And so it's been going. But when I tell you the heat, since it's been hot out here again, it makes it a little bit hard sometimes when I try to go to work. Because if I step outside and the sun is out, there's no shade, there's no shadows, and it's just heat, no cool breeze, and it's just heat. When I tell you it immediately just drains and takes all my energy. It's like it's gone. I start immediately breathing real hard, walking real slow, tipping over. And I have to go sit under like now if I sit under the air for a little bit, just like like 10 minutes or so, like usually after I sit down for a little bit, I'm fine again. But if I go back outside and it's hot like that again, it again immediately drains me, and I gotta walk real slow, and it's a lot. So it's still learning how to listen to my body and take care of myself to make sure that I don't have another flare up. I'm taking my medicines. Okay, I'm taking my medicine. Okay, I take my medicine for my MS. I have these balance meds that's supposed to help me with my balance. Don't always take those. When I was taking them, it was great. I didn't tip off over as much, but I still did tip over. But I didn't tip off as much. It was great. And I still have that medication. And I'm working on getting it to where I can take it how I'm supposed to. I'm supposed to take it twice a day, but it's really hard I can always take it at night. But for it to work effectively how it's supposed to, I have to take it in the mornings. And I have to take meds on food. But I don't really eat in the morning. I've never really eaten in the morning. I literally wake up in enough time to brush my teeth, use the restroom, put on some clothes, and go to work. Because I'm not a morning person. It's very hard for me to wake up in the morning. I've had my alarm clock set to 5 a.m. I'm supposed to wake up at 5 a.m. every day so I can take my dogs on a walk before it gets too hot. So I can take a shower and then go to work. I ain't made it yet. And so then I was like, well, I'm going to start walking at nighttime, like when it gets getting dark outside, like at 8:30, 9 o'clock. I've done it once. And when I tell you, I think it was last week was the first time I was able to actually make it to where I wasn't tired at that time to go and walk my dogs and for me to take a walk. And when I tell you, it felt like I was starting kind of all over again because I got tired real quick. Tired with a quickness. Yeah. So like, and I just did one walk around the neighborhood. I think I didn't even make it a mile. I think it was like point 60 was how far the distance that I was able to walk. And I think by the time we got to like point 40, I was, Sunny, slow down. Give me a minute. Like, yeah. So it's still a learning curve. I'm still learning and I'm still trying to get better. But that was my life the past year. This is what happened a year ago. I was supposed to do this video and make it and everything May 3rd, the anniversary of everything. But if I would have done this May 3rd, there would have been a lot more crying going on. Amen. I was able to keep it together for most of this video and not cry. Because I tell you, I would be seeing stuff and just randomly just start crying. Like if I just remember, when I just remember that feeling and I see, like I get emotional and I get scared all over again. And ooh, baby, nah. So I've done a good job with not tearing up and breaking down during this video. But that's been my life for the past year. And I'm still growing, still learning. And I guess it's my life now, I'm hoping I'll get to the point to where, I don't know, I need to check with my doctor and double check with him. Like, is it going to be where I can never just be out in the heat again? Because that sucks, I like the summertime because I like to go swim in the pool and I like to do those things. And so I was just going to double check with my doctor, see what I can and cannot do. But I do know I do not need to be under direct heat for a long period of time. I can be out in the heat. If there's shade, I can make it. I'll get tired, but I can make it. But if it's like direct sunlight, like I tell you, just gone. It's gone. Energy gone. I'm gone. I'm gonna go sit down somewhere. I'm not doing nothing. Don't talk to me. Don't touch me. Don't ask me. I'm not doing it. I'm gonna sit down and I'm not getting up. One of the things that I've noticed is that I've been able to go out through my day longer before I start getting fatigued. But usually by the time I get home or a little bit before I get done with work, I do start to get tired. And then by the time I do get home and I've had like dinner and stuff like that, I'm kind of spent. Like I really getting up and getting down and moving around and doing all this extra and stuff. I really can't do it. Like I could, but I'd be pushing it. I think here recently, I gotta listen to my body. I've been really working on making sure I do that. But one of my dead giveaways that I know that right now, that means I need to sit down and I need to stop what I'm doing and I need to stop moving around for a couple days or just need to relax, take a sick day or whatever the case may be and just not do anything, is when I start getting headaches. When I start getting headaches or I start feeling that pounding in my head, like I'm going to get a headache, I know I need to go sit down somewhere. And so I'm learning to listen to my body. I am learning and adapting to this new whatever. And yeah, so that's my life update for the past year. It's what I've been going through. Yeah, it's been a lot. But my job has been real support. Well, my unit at my job has been very supportive. There's colleagues in my office that have been very supportive. Supervisor's been very supportive. They work with me on making sure that I'm not overdoing too much in terms of like mentalizing my head and my body and stuff like that. And I think for the most part, I'm doing okay, and I'm gonna be okay. You know, everything happens for. This is one of the things that I kept telling myself in the hospital, and what was really helped calm me down is I kept telling myself is that, you know, everything happens for a reason, and God not gonna put too much on me that I can't handle. Maybe, you know, this is something that had to happen. You know, whether it be there's a lesson along the line of what's going on, of why this is happening, and why this is something that God decided, why this is a challenge that God decided to put in my life for something that I have to deal with. I will tell you, I'm tired. I'm tired of all the ailments, and I'm tired of all the diagnoses, and I'm tired of all the doctors and all the doctors' bills. When I tell you, I was taking an MRI like every 3 months when I first got off the hospital. Got these braces. I can't afford that MRI, and right now I got braces, so can't do it anyways because you can't even see what you want to see because the braces, the imaging is blocked. So no, I'm not going to do no MRI. But I was literally doing MRI so much. It was like I had so much money in hospital bills. Yeah, still trying to pay off that, like a mess. Can't stand the hospital now. Can't stand going to the doctors. I do it, you know, if I need to. I go see my doctors and I take my meds, and whatever the case, I take care of myself, and I make sure I'm taking care of my health. But yeah, I can't stand hospitals now. And yeah, got insurance, but it's better than nothing. But dang, stuff's not cheap. You know, they had me on, my first medication I was on was an infusion. Brienview, great stuff. That stuff works so good. Okay, when I tell you, when I first went back at the job, I literally had my last MRI. My spots were the same. They hadn't grown. They hadn't shrunk. They were pretty much the same size. They didn't really move that much, right? A week before my next MRI, I had my first injection of my medication that I was on at that time. And when I tell you, when I got that injection, I already wasn't feeling well. I was having a bunch of headaches because, again, I'm still, you know, I'm fresh out of the hospital. And I'm working this job that is very demanding and things that I have to do. And I had some things happen at the job that were very stressful. And so I had like a headache for like a week straight. And so I had to like sit down somewhere. But when I got that medication, I was really scared for what that MRI was going to look like because of how stressed I was for that week. For that month, actually, I was scared. I was like, I hope they didn't grow and stuff like that. Like, God, please just, protect me, stuff like that. Praise him, because I got my first injection of my medication for my MS on a Wednesday. That Friday, I had an MRI. That next week, I went to go see the neuro about that MRI. And when I tell you the dots in my head, they were so small. Like they went from being like this, see, and it's shaking. That's horrible. Stop that. Okay, we're gonna do this one. So it was about, some of them, they were about this big. Some of them were smaller, but it was like barely, like, you see that little space right there? You see how small that is? That's how much they had shrunk. That's how small they were. And I said, praise them. Because the medication, it worked. And so I just switched to a different medication because, I have other ailments. And so sometimes you got to discontinue from one so that you're not on too many medications. But also you're taking care of all your stuff. But whatever the case may be, I'm doing good. I have my days, I have my moments, I have my breakdowns. Again, I cry a whole lot more than I used to because, I feel like I feel like a lot of times, like, it's like my body is betraying me. Like every time I drop something, one of the things that I do is, as it gets later in the day, or if I start getting tired or fatigued, or if I'm like, basically if I'm tired or fatigued or whatever, I start to stutter. Like, I already stutter just a little bit, like, because I talk fast, so sometimes I can't get my words out. But now sometimes when I stutter, it's like I can't get it back. It just keeps happening and it won't get itself together so that I can keep going. I have to literally try to say it all over again, or just switch the topic, or I just stop talking. And so there's just like certain little things like that. It's like, it's so disheartening because it's not fair, but it's life, right? And so I'm dealing with the best I can. And at the end of the day, you know, God got me, and I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be okay, and I'm taking care of it. But again, when I say that it's been a tough year, it's been a tough year. But I am excited to see what year 28 has for me. And I am excited to continue to grow and continue to learn and to be okay, right? So for those who've been praying for me, I thank you. For those, you know, please continue to pray for me. For those who want to add me to their prayer list, you know, I appreciate you. I don't want sympathy, and I just want y'all to know, you know, hey, this is what's been going on in my life for like the past year. And it's been hard for me to even try and talk about it. Sometimes. So yeah. Thank y'all for sitting on this long video that I said it was going to be short. But as my supervisor used to say, they're going to ask me a question and I'm going to tell a whole story, because I don't know how else to explain things without explaining everything. Okay. If you stayed for this whole time to hear the whole story, I appreciate you. And for giving your time to listen to, you know, my story, that you cared enough to listen. Anybody out there who watches this video, if you have MS, you got any pointers for me, any information, things that I need to do, things that I should look into, if there's like, you know, support groups, something like that, you let me know. Let me know, because a community and people that I can confide in terms of like the MS besides doctors would be great. Would be great. You know, God did really good with putting people into my life. I think I went to go get my hair done when I first got out the hospital, and there was a lady there who's talked about a friend that she had who had MS, and she connected me with that person who connected me with the best neurological doctor. Like, people fly out from different states and countries to come see this doctor, and I'm blessed to have him as my doctor. Okay. He's great, and yeah. So I'm okay. And connect me to people. Help me out. Support group, something. Because, again, yes, I'm okay. But, again, I still have things going with my body every day. Things that I listen to is still a struggle. So you got connections, let me know. And thanks for listening to my TED Talk. Right? Peace out.